in the NFL. So as we need to do now, we're not going to have Kyle dancing, which is somewhat unfortunate.
Maybe Matt would dance. No,
I don't think he is. I'm not dancing. I'm too white for that. You know it. You can try. How do you dance? That was the whitest dance I've ever seen, EJ. That's bad. But it is our Tool Time segment, is our weekly power rankings brought to us.
I told Matt to look right, but he'll need to.
Yeah, as we have always encouraged, and it's more for Kyle than anybody else. If you're watching on the video, look to the right side of the screen first for the bottom five. EJ, what's your bottom five this week?
All right, for the podcast listeners here, 28 is Denver Broncos, 29 Carolina Panthers, 30 Arizona Cardinals, 31 Chicago Bears, 32 the Houston Texans. The Broncos don't feel like a bottom five team, but this is why I penalized them. And granted, they lost 2 games by combined total of 3 points. But both games were at home.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
That's tough.
You can't get one out there, bro. You know what I mean? So that's why I penalized them a little bit. But they don't feel like a bottom five team. Carolina, of course, they're pretty bad. Arizona moved up 2 spots because, look, Arizona has been very competitive last 2 games. I got to reward them somehow. They probably should be New York and almost beat Washington last week. It was 2-0 now. Chicago, same at 31. They're not good. And Houston, look, I know Kyle thought they shouldn't be in the bottom 5 last week, or certainly higher, but then they regress against the Colts. The Colts lose their starting quarterback, Richardson, in the second quarter, and he still can't play well. So,
yeah, I mean, I have the Texans at 28 on mine. I saw the Cardinals as my worst team because I don't know what sparked them at the beginning of that game, but when you either are bad enough to blow that lead or you willingly choke that game away, you belong at the bottom. I have the Panthers as my 31. They're just bad. And I get there's a lot of youth there and there's room to grow. And you have a new coach, but they stink. They just stink. They do. The Giants were at 31 for me last week. I only moved them up 1. Look, they were getting pushed around by the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think they came back and won. That's not a win to celebrate. It's not. It just
that's a good live win. I wasn't that happy when they won the game.
Yeah,
especially because they
congratulations.
Saquon.
On top of all that too.
Yeah, you're 1-1 instead of 0-2, but you lost your best player. And here's the thing: you're not going to be able to come back in most weeks when you start a game like that. So
hell no.
You barely deserve to be rewarded. I have the Bears at 29. Maybe the Giants should have been above the Bears because the Bears are that bad, but those are my bottom. I don't necessarily I'm not gonna get super crazy arguing about the bottom 5.
Matt, any issue with the bottom 5?
No, I think I probably also have the Cardinals at 32 and bump the Texans and Bears up just because the Cardinals are actively trying to lose. So give them what they're trying to do, EJ. They want
that's evidence of Sunday
32. Give them that. My goodness. And I don't hate the Broncos in there. I'm looking at the other 0-2 teams. I wouldn't put the Broncos ahead of the Chargers just based on promise of the team. Wouldn't put them ahead of the Bengals for similar reasons, or the Patriots.
Or the Chargers?
Chargers, yeah. And the Vikings are also 0-2, I believe. But I think if the 2 teams played each other, the Vikings probably win handily based on what I've seen.
Great.
So I'm fine with everything except having the Cardinals there.
All right, EJ, give us your top 10.
All right, top 10. 10-1. Here we go. Number 10, the Detroit Lions. Number 9, the New Orleans Saints. 8, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 7, the Buffalo Bills. Number 6, the Baltimore Ravens. Number 5, the Miami Dolphins. Number 4, the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 3, the Dallas Cowboys. Number 2, Kansas City Chiefs. And number 1, still, the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, so I have the same 6 teams in the top 6. I have a slightly different order. I still have the Niners at 1. Although this week definitely looked a little shakier than week 1 at Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. So last week I had the Niners and Dolphins as my 1 and 2. Again, mine, I think I react a little bit more to the volatility than yours do. I think as we've seen over the last couple of years, you incorporate your trust in teams into your rankings. So mine do look a little bit different there. I still have the Niners and Dolphins as my 1 and 2. I actually have the Cowboys at 3, and I get, I'll hit the button. Homer. But when I look at the first 2 weeks of this season, I get you played the Giants, you played Aaron Rodgers-less Jets, but Cowboys are outscoring their opponents 70-10. The offense is running pretty efficiently. The defense and special teams are just playing out of this world right now. So, I'm giving I messaged my boss on Monday, and I said that I know it's early, but this Cowboys defense looks pretty damn special. And he said, "Are you allowing yourself to enjoy it yet?" And I said, a little bit,
slight.
So that bumped down the Chiefs and the Eagles to 4 and 5. And it's not that they're bad. It's just, I don't think the Chiefs have been impressive. The Eagles look like, for whatever reason, looked like they tried to give a couple games away late. I think both of those teams will begin to ascend at some point.
Yeah.
I have the Ravens at 6. And then here's the thing. After 6, I feel like it just becomes a whole bunch of who the hell do you really want here? I kind of reluctantly put the Bills at 7. I don't know that they're the 7th best team in the league, but I looking at it, I'm like, so they beat the hell out of the Raiders, but I think everybody's going to beat the hell out of the Raiders this year.
Yeah.
But then I'm also looking at the rest. I'm like, I wouldn't put them above the Jags. If the two teams played based on what I've seen so far, I would take the Bills over the Jags. I would take the Bills over, to your list, the Saints, the Lions. So I kind of put them there by default.
Makes sense.
I have the Jags at 8. My next two are probably surprise teams, and again, I'm basing this off of the little bit of chaos that we've seen, and surprises that we've seen to start this year. I have the Rams at 9, and I get they're 1 and 1. But this Rams team right now, again, it's going to hinge on the health of Matthew Stafford, but they look pretty good. Like they won big week 1. They hung in with the Niners, probably could have won the game if we're being honest.
Yeah.
And Kyron Williams has grabbed hold of that backfield. You have a young emerging wide receivers. So again, if Stafford can stay healthy, I think this Rams team is going to be a lot better than we expected. And my number 10 is the team I picked to win on Monday night. This Bucs team, like they're 2-0 again. I think eventually they're going to fall, but right now they're offensively, they're moving the ball really well. Baker Mayfield's efficient. The defense has looked a little better. Again, they haven't played a whole lot of competition.
No,
but I've liked what I've seen out of the Bucs so far. So
I'll say I did consider the Rams put in the top 10 this week also too, for the same reason you did. My top 4 is the same as last week. Nothing's changed. Obviously with the Chiefs, Homer, you call what you want. A lot of trust there. The Super Bowl champs.
Homer.
It wasn't the greatest win against the Jaguars, on the road, but again, they found a way to win. Their defense looks pretty good, though. I'll say that in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, there's part of me, and I kind of had to fight the homerism. Part of me wanted to put the Cowboys at 2.
Yeah, I thought about it too. Also, yeah,
the Dolphins, I think at times didn't look super impressive against the Patriots.
Right. It's in the fourth quarter.
But I wasn't ready to sign off on the Cowboys at 2 yet. I think the only team in your top 10 that I'm really throwing a flag on is the Saints.
Okay, that's fine.
Like I get they're 2-0.
Yeah,
but they look like a bad 2-0.
I do think though with the Saints though, like what they do does travel well. Like they're really good on defense, so they should be able to go 10-7 this year without any issue at least. And I suppose you guys before the year started, the schedule's going to work out for them. In terms of the top 10 though, like the top 4 is the same as last week.
Yeah,
Dolphins was at 1 spot. Ravens were at number 8 last week, and number 6. Buffalo back in the top 10, number 7. Jags fell 1 spot. Like I said, Saints 9. I get it. Lions, I didn't want to kill them too much out the shoot, but that's a bad loss though against Seattle. It's a bad loss.
Yeah, that's when they're going to win.
To Matt's point, they shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah,
It's one they're going to want back for sure.
Yeah,
multiple times they went for it on fourth when they shouldn't. When they could have kicked the field goal, and once in their own territory. And I think it's. I get taking risks. The Eagles certainly do as well. Go for it on fourth, plenty, but I think you have to be calculated with that.
Yeah.
For me, I switched the Ravens and the Chiefs. I think what I've seen out of Baltimore to start the season has been a little bit more impressive than what I've seen out of Kansas City or Miami. I might put the Cowboys 2 ahead of the Ravens if I'm nitpicking, just because of what we've seen out of that defense. I just don't know that we've seen enough out of the offense. The defense has put them in a position for success pretty much both games, that they've just kind of done what they needed to do, but you can't fault them for that.
I mean, what I've seen, the thing that I like about the Cowboys offense is there was a lot of questions coming into the year with Kellen Moore being gone and Zeke being gone. Like, what's this offense going to look like? We've seen them. I mean, they've been heavy on the run game, which I absolutely love, because that offensive line and kind of a three-headed monster headed by Tony Pollard has looked really good. So you're taking some of that pressure off of Dak Prescott. That's been one of my biggest gripes in the last couple of years. It's not that Dak is bad. I think Dak is actually a really good quarterback. But when he's throwing the ball 37, 40, 45 times, bad things are going to happen. Bad things are going to happen when most quarterbacks are throwing the ball that many times. So take some of that pressure off, allow him to work when he needs to. And so far, again, against the Giants, I say against the Jets, but the Jets defense, really, really good. And the Cowboys were smart enough to not throw it towards Sauce Gardner very much either. So they have the weapons to go away from some of the best defensive players on the other side. So early returns, I've liked what I've seen from that offense. But there's going to come a point where the schedule gets a little tough.
By the way, the Dolphins also too impressive. Also 2-0, both games on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
very impressive. Very impressive. Yep.
Very true. Absolutely. And I would also knock the Saints out. And I would put the Buccaneers in, just based on level of competition.
He's alive. Look at him, Kyle. Saints over Lions, laughable. I will agree with that. Saints should not be in the top 10.
You're missing an H in laughable, Kyle.
Loggable. Jags getting. Here's the thing, man. The Jags is not I mean, if you throw your game away, you can get punished. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I mean, it got punished by one spot. There was 7 last week, number 6. I mean, so.
And
massive
thing. If you want to put the Jags above the Bills, I don't have a problem with it. I don't. But they haven't looked crisp. And I mean, to the bottom 5, he says Texans below Bears. Stop.
Yeah, they lost by 16 last week and lost by 10 this week.
But I mean, like I said, I have the Texans at 28. I think that they belong in the bottom 5. I don't know that they're the worst team in the league, but
I just think Arizona has played competitive football in a way I didn't think they would in the first 2 weeks, even against the Giants and Commanders, honestly. So that says something.
It's true. Matt, any other thoughts on the top 10 or the bottom 5?
Nope.
All right, that's where we'll close that one. And